listening to Norman Finkelstein. They keep calling him Finkelstein. I think it's Finkelstein, but only he would know. For such as I, he is balm, B-A-L-M. Not particularly because I agree with him, which I do, re-Israel, but because he's so scrupulous, so rigorous, so thorough, so self-lacerating in his thinking. His formulation on Biden is that it is about the contributions in an election year of billionaires, billionaire Jews, who would otherwise go straight to Trump. Here there is a thought. So it's in a parenthesis, an interesting collateral connection. Billionaires don't think like Norman, scrupulously, thoroughly, as if it's in the DNA. I think this is so. I think billionaires are a monolith, a small group, but on the evidence, the group has one thought, group think. It would be interesting to see how billionaires go across the ethnicities. I have my suspicions there would be little to separate them. End parenthesis. What I observe in America all the time, but rising to a frenzy during presidential elections, is a sort of need to reassert identity. Why this has to be reasserted is obvious. The identity is nil or very fragile. It is not at all an ancestral homeland, dears, is it, for instance? It is someone's ancestral homeland, but not the people's who vote in these elections. Subjectively, full disclosure, I think ancestral homeland is tosh. But if it has value, it has a thing that every Russian, Englishman, Indian, Ukrainian, Israeli, African, Arab, Native American can claim, and no white American can. So if this ancestry conceit is important to you, you will likely need this constant reinforcement. A sense of belonging I do feel is important. Making a relationship to the place one lives seems to be very important and seems to be a particular skill of more primitive tribal peoples. And since we are or have been nomadic longer than staying put people, our instinct here must be honed and brilliant. We are constantly making new homes and the religious connections to the land where we make them. There is evidence, for instance, that Stonehenge, where it is currently in Salisbury, is actually Stonehenge 2. It was moved some 400 miles. It was not conquered. Different people didn't move in. They moved the stones. The homeland shifted. Good for the Druids. It is either funny or sad to watch Hollywood's strenuous efforts to create identity rather than reflect it. They hold the mirror up to the mirror, not to nature. Truth in Hollywood is the escape. So obsessed are they with fantasy, so adamant to avoid truth like a steroidal DeSantis. Hollywood's fantasy is its prison, like Florida and Texas history books. They teach the fantasy. I think Joe Biden's lifelong genuine championing of Israel is part of this Disneyfied cultural need. He wants to co-opt, don the mantle of the real, or real as cultures allow in the Hollywoods of the good books, the story of us. What Israel has that European America does not. Roots. Again, I'm not a roots person either. Had Europe come to this American continent and said to the people already here, we'd really like to move in among you, what do you think? What accommodations would you agree to? And of course, this is not the European way. The European Christian way is to say, we are bringing the flag and the righteousness. We are moving in whatever you think and whatever your resistances may be. That is the root, to use the word, of what the Westerner calls terrorism, the resistance to that abomination. The Euro-Christian assumption of manifest destiny was that God gave us this land. Hard to find a concept more vile or sad. On the evidence, again, we did a lot of accommodating as we walked out of Africa all those zillions of years ago and bumped into each other, tribe on tribe, in that pagan fashion. It is this rather new and unnatural non-accommodation tradition that we have developed, we invented, in the really short history of nations and homelands that European America was born into. In fact, European America is the flagship of this new notion. It is also the leading light in the new shallow culture that keeps its members children. Shallow cultures know they are shallow. They repel the profound and numinous, drive it away, because it is a constant reminder, while craving it, really needing it. The myth of Israel is a perfect fit in this shallow Hollywood imagining of our culture. They stand in for the indigenous people we destroyed in our narcissistic age of discovery. Now, a new idea just heaves across my bow. The monotheisms, the Abrahamics, born as they are upon and of each other, all Western, by the way, display either the roots or the twigs of this European West Asian frenzy about identity. Perhaps the years of the Jewish diaspora and their horrible treatment by we all know who drove them back to promised lands and Deuteronomy, as Netanyahu quotes it. The great deep story of Exodus and more, all very powerful ideas for a unified, distinct group. Distinct by choice. Religion is a choice, except for children, which is profoundly why he is called our Father, and we are always his children. But I repeat, I don't know enough about the Arab conquests to comment. I know a tad about Spain. 700 years they were there. Then they went home. But I don't know how they treated non-Muslims while they were in Spain. We do know that when they left, the Spanish Inquisition began, almost like that, heavily persecuting anyone they could get their hands on. Et voila, Columbus set sail. Wiki dates the aftermath of Islamic Spain beginning in 1492. Woohoo, can't make it up. Inquisition 1478 to 1834. Well, 350 years of Christian barbarism, all because they could not conceive or tolerate the notion of an other. The distinction with Christianity seems to be that their persecutors were only in their heads made up. Dark Disney, the devil, oh thin shell that separates us from the lost souls in whom Satan burns. Quote, the way out of our defiled and desecrated lives is through the command to hate Satan, Friedrich Reich, referring to the Nazis. Columbus just fantasized his Nazis. It seems from the little but enough that I know that Judaism and Islam only gets horrible when attacked. Maybe not. Maybe the Arab conquests were their version of European colonialism. I don't think so. And maybe white people will go back to Europe from America in 2320. That'll be 700 years from Plymouth Rock. So yes, these are the culminations, if not the conclusions, of restless nights. Our ruthless, sad, insatiable self-definings which fail because the self is not in the formula. Obedience alone resides there. The world will continue to suffer while its monotheistic babies seek themselves in all the wrong places. Be honest, the monotheisms are genocidal by nature. They dehumanize those who are not them. They call them idol worshippers. From there it is easy. Biden just shares Netanyahu's Satan.